was folding his shirts when my phone vibrated. Please watch this video to the end and learn new things from my story. One message, one picture, and my marriage ended without a single word being spoken. The photo showed Daniel in a white suit, smiling like the man I married. His arm was wrapped around a woman I had seen before but never questioned. Long brown hair, perfect teeth. Her hand rested on his chest like it belonged there. The caption read, "Engaged ring can't wait to spend forever." My hands shook. A blue shirt slid to the floor. I checked the name again. Daniel Brooks. My husband. I sat on the bed, staring at the screen, waiting for the joke to reveal itself, waiting for someone to say, "Got you," waiting to wake up. But nothing happened. Instead, another message came in. From Daniel. "I didn't plan to tell you like this, but you would have made it difficult." That was it. No apology. No explanation. No shame. Just that. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because if I didn't laugh, I would scream loud enough to scare the neighbors. For 10 years, I stood beside that man. I paid half the bills. I cooked. I cleaned. I believed in him when he had nothing but big dreams and unpaid parking tickets. And now, I was being replaced like old furniture. I wiped my face and typed back. "So when were you going to tell me?" He replied almost instantly. "After the wedding." That was when something inside me snapped. Not broke. Snapped. I stood up slowly and looked around the bedroom we shared. The bed, the photos, the stupid matching lamps we bought from a yard sale when we were broke and happy. I realized something very important. Daniel thought I was done. He thought I would cry, beg, and quietly disappear. He had no idea who he married. The next morning, I did something unexpected. I cooked breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee, just how he liked it. When Daniel walked into the kitchen, he froze. "You're calm," he said carefully. I smiled. Why wouldn't I be? He didn't sit. He just stood there like a guest who stayed too long. "I'm moving out," he said. "Claire will be moving in after the wedding." Claire? So the mistress had a name. "When is the wedding?" I asked. He blinked. "Next month." I nodded. "That's soon." "I hope we can be mature about this," he said. Mature. That word tasted bitter. "Of course," I said softly. "I want you to be happy." Relief washed over his face. That was his first mistake. Over the next few days, Daniel packed his things. I helped him. I even laughed at old jokes. I played the role of the heartbroken but understanding wife perfectly. But every night, when I was alone, I planned. Claire wasn't new. She worked at Daniel's office. I remembered her now. She laughed too loudly at his jokes, always found excuses to touch his arm. I used to feel sorry for her. Not anymore. One evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello," I answered. "This is Melissa," the voice said. "Daniel's sister." My chest tightened. "Yes." "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't know he would do this to you." I smiled into the phone. "Thank you." There was a pause, then she whispered, "He's making a big mistake." "I agree," I said, "but mistakes can still be fixed." That night, I created a new email account. I named it Perfect Bride Plans. Then I started digging. Claire loved social media. That made things easy. I learned her favorite flowers, her wedding colors, her venue. She wanted a small, classy wedding. I wanted something unforgettable. I emailed the wedding planner, pretending to be Claire. "I've decided to make a few changes," I wrote sweetly. The planner replied within minutes. "Of course, anything for the bride." I smiled. Over the next 2 weeks, I made small changes. Nothing suspicious. Different flowers, new cake design, adjusted seating. Then I made the real move. I canceled the venue. I didn't just cancel it. I rebooked it. For the same day. Under my name. The planner called me, confused. I thought Claire. She changed her mind, I said calmly. She wants something more intimate. The day of the wedding arrived. I dressed in a simple black dress and sunglasses. I didn't go to the venue. I went to the hotel. Claire was in the lobby, glowing in white. Daniel stood beside her, nervous and smiling. I walked past them slowly. Claire frowned. Do I know you? I stopped. Yes, I said, you do. Daniel turned pale. Emily, he whispered. I leaned in close to Claire. I'm his wife. Her smile vanished. What? Before either of them could react, a man approached Claire. Excuse me, miss, he said politely. There's a problem with the venue. Her eyes widened. What kind of problem? He cleared his throat. It's booked. Daniel grabbed my arm. What did you do? I smiled gently. I destroyed your wedding plan. Sirens echoed outside. Not police. Something worse. The truth was about to come out. And this. The sirens grew louder. Claire's hands trembled as she grabbed Daniel's arm. What is happening? You said everything was handled. Daniel didn't answer her. His eyes were locked on me like I was a ghost that refused to disappear. Emily, he hissed, pulling me aside, fix this, now. I laughed softly. Fix what? Your wedding? I thought you said I would only make things difficult. His jaw tightened. The hotel manager rushed toward us, sweating. Sir, ma'am, there's been a serious issue. The venue you booked is unavailable. That's impossible, Claire snapped. I paid in full. I stepped closer, calm and polite. Actually, I paid in full 2 weeks ago. Claire stared at me. You're lying. I pulled out my phone and showed her the confirmation email. My name, my card, my signature. Her face went white. Daniel whispered, Emily, please, people are watching. That was exactly the point. Guests were already gathering, whispering. Phones came out. Someone recognized me from old family photos and gasped. Isn't that Daniel's wife? Claire turned to him slowly. Wife. Daniel swallowed. It's complicated. Oh, it's not, I said. You married me 10 years ago. You never divorced me. And while you were sleeping in my bed, you were planning a wedding behind my back. Claire's eyes filled with tears. You told me she agreed to move on. Daniel didn't deny it. The wedding planner rushed over, holding a clipboard. Sir, we need to speak immediately. There's also a legal concern. What now? Daniel snapped. The planner lowered her voice. Your marriage license application was flagged. You're still legally married. Gasps spread through the lobby. Claire stepped back like Daniel was poison. You said you were single. I was going to be, he said weakly. I leaned in. After the wedding, remember. She slapped him. The sound echoed like a gunshot. The lobby went silent. Daniel stood there, stunned, red mark burning on his cheek. Claire's mascara ran as she cried, her dream shattering in public. But I wasn't done. I turned to the planner. Since the venue is mine, I'd like to make an announcement. The planner hesitated, then nodded. I stepped forward, my voice steady. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, thank you for coming. Unfortunately, today's wedding has been canceled. Murmurs exploded. However, I continued, you're all welcome to stay. This event is now a celebration. Daniel shouted, Emily, stop. A celebration of truth, I said. I looked straight at Claire. You weren't special, you were convenient. She sobbed and ran toward the elevators. Daniel tried to follow her, but his brother Mark grabbed his arm. What did you do, man? Daniel shook him off. She ruined everything. I smiled. No, Daniel, you did. That evening, the story spread fast. Social media lit up. Someone posted a video titled, Wife CRASHES Husband's Wedding. By morning, it had thousands of views. Daniel called me nonstop. I didn't answer. Instead, I went home and packed. Not my things. His. I boxed up everything he left behind and placed it neatly on the porch. Then I changed the locks. At noon, his mother showed up. She stood at the door, arms crossed. "You embarrass my son." I raised an eyebrow. He embarrassed himself. "You should have handled this privately." "Like he did?" I asked. She had no answer. That night, I slept better than I had in months. But peace never lasts long. 2 days later, I got an email. From Daniel's lawyer. He wanted a divorce. He wanted the house. He wanted half of everything. I laughed out loud. He really didn't know me at all. Because while Daniel was planning a wedding, I was quietly protecting myself. I had copies, receipts, messages, proof, and one secret Daniel never saw coming. The next morning, I walked into a downtown office with a manila folder in my hand. The receptionist smiled. "You're early, Ms. Brooks." I smiled back. "I've been waiting a long time." She pointed to the door. "They're ready for you." I took a deep breath and stepped inside. Because destroying the wedding was just the warning. What I was about to do next would destroy his future. The room smelled like coffee and paper. 3 people sat across from me, 2 men in dark suits, 1 woman with sharp eyes and a notepad already open. "Mrs. Brooks," the woman said, "we've reviewed the preliminary information you sent." I nodded. "There's more." I slid the folder across the table. Inside were screenshots, bank transfers, emails, voice notes Daniel never knew were saved, messages where he promised Claire money that wasn't his to give. One of the men adjusted his glasses. "Your husband used a joint business account for personal expenses." "Yes," I said, "including engagement rings, hotel bookings, and gifts for his mistress." The woman looked up slowly. "That account was registered under your name." I smiled. "Exactly." For years, Daniel told me I was bad with money. He insisted he handle everything. What he didn't know was that I watched. I learned. I copied every statement and saved every password he reused like an idiot. Silence filled the room. "This changes things," the man said finally. "I know," I replied. When I left the office, my phone buzzed. "Daniel." I let it ring. Then again. And again. Finally, a text came through. "Please, we need to talk. You're going too far." I typed back one sentence. "You went too far when you replaced me." That evening, I met my friend Sarah for coffee. She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. "You really canceled his wedding," she said. "I rebooked it," I corrected. "Big difference." She burst out laughing, then stopped. "Emily, are you okay?" I thought about that. The betrayal, the humiliation, the years I ignored red flags because I loved him. "I'm finally awake," I said. The next day, the calls started. Daniel's boss. His business partner. Even his pastor. Apparently, when the wedding video went viral, people started asking questions about his integrity, his honesty, his values. Claire posted a long message online. "I was lied to. Please respect my privacy." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. That night, Daniel showed up at the house. I watched him through the camera as he knocked, then banged, then pleaded. "Emily, please open the door." I spoke through the intercom. "You're trespassing." "You can't do this to me," he said, voice cracking. "I'll lose everything." I leaned closer to the speaker. "Funny, that's exactly how I felt when you replaced me." He dropped his head. "I made a mistake." "No," I said calmly. "You made a choice." A week later, court papers arrived. Daniel was officially suing me. He wanted to paint me as bitter, unstable, vindictive. But I was ready. On the morning of the hearing, I wore the same black dress from the hotel lobby, not out of anger. Out of confidence. Daniel avoided my eyes in the courtroom. His lawyer whispered urgently into his ear. When my lawyer stood, she smiled. "Your Honor," she said, "this case is not about revenge, it's about accountability." She presented the evidence. Every illegal transfer. Every lie. Every misuse of funds. Daniel's face drained of color. Then the judge asked one question that made my heart pound. "Mr. Brooks," he said, "is it true you plan to marry another woman while still legally married?" Daniel opened his mouth. Closed it. The room waited. And that was when the doors at the back of the courtroom opened. Everyone turned. My breath caught. Because standing there, holding a folder just like mine, was Claire. And she wasn't smiling. Not at Daniel. Not at me. She was furious. Claire's heels echoed as she walked down the aisle of the courtroom. Every step was sharp, angry, certain. Daniel finally looked at her. His mouth fell open. "Claire, what are you doing here?" She didn't answer him. She stopped beside my row, turned slightly toward the judge, and raised her hand. "Your Honor," she said, her voice shaking but strong, "I have evidence." The courtroom exploded into whispers. Daniel jumped to his feet. "She has nothing to do with this." The judge slammed his gavel. "Sit down, Mr. Brooks." Claire sat calmly in the empty chair behind me. I could feel her anger like heat on my back. The judge nodded at her. "Proceed." She opened her folder. "I was promised a future built on lies," she said, "and when I found out the truth, I checked everything he ever told me." She handed documents to the clerk. Hotel receipts. Voice messages. And something I didn't expect. A signed document. Daniel's lawyer stood abruptly. "Objection." The judge scanned the paper, then raised an eyebrow. "This appears to be a contract." Claire's lips trembled. "He offered me shares in his company after the wedding, shares he didn't own alone." Daniel's face turned gray. I felt my heart race. I didn't know about that. The judge leaned back slowly. "Mr. Brooks, you promised assets that were jointly owned with your wife." Daniel stammered. "It was just talk, she misunderstood." Claire stood up. "You told me she was unstable, that she would never fight back." Her eyes flicked to me. "I was wrong," she said quietly. The judge called a short recess. Outside the courtroom, reporters crowded the hallway. Cameras flashed. Microphones were pushed toward our faces. "Emily, do you feel vindicated?" "Claire, were you a victim too?" "Daniel, any comment?" Daniel snapped. "Leave us alone." Claire turned to me. "I didn't know, I swear." I studied her face. She looked broken, but also relieved. "I believe you," I said, "but believing you doesn't change what he did." She nodded. "I know." Daniel's lawyer pulled him aside, whispering urgently. Daniel ran his hands through his hair like a trapped animal. "This is falling apart," he muttered. "Both of you are ruining me." I smiled faintly. "No, Daniel, the truth is." When court resumed, the judge's tone had changed. "This case now involves potential fraud," he said, "and misrepresentation." Daniel's lawyer asked for a postponement. Denied. Then something happened that made my stomach flip. The judge turned to me. "Mrs. Brooks, are you aware that your husband attempted to secure a loan using your shared assets as collateral?" I froze. "What loan?" Daniel shouted, "That's not relevant." The judge's eyes hardened. "Answer the question." "I wasn't aware," I said slowly. The clerk handed my lawyer another document. My lawyer's face went serious. "Your Honor," she said, "this loan was filed 3 days before the planned wedding." Claire gasped. Daniel sank into his chair. The judge exhaled. "This matter will be referred for further investigation." The gavel came down. Court adjourned. Daniel was surrounded immediately, by lawyers, by questions, by consequences. As everyone filed out, Claire stopped me. "There's something else," she said quietly, "something I didn't give the court." My heart pounded. What? She leaned closer. He wasn't just planning to marry me. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? She swallowed. There was another woman before me, and she didn't walk away. I stared at her. Where is she now? I asked. Claire hesitated. Then she whispered, that's the problem, no one knows. At that moment, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. You should have let it go. I looked up. Daniel was watching me from the end of the hallway. And for the first time since this all began, I felt afraid. My fingers went cold around the phone. I stared at the message again. You should have let it go. I slowly raised my head. Daniel stood at the far end of the hallway, surrounded by noise, but somehow completely alone. His face wasn't angry anymore. It was empty. That scared me more than shouting ever could. I slipped my phone into my bag and walked away without looking back. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt louder. Every shadow felt closer. I replayed Claire's words over and over. There was another woman before me, and she didn't walk away. At 2:14 a.m., I got another message. From the same unknown number. Ask him about Lisa. My heart slammed into my ribs. Lisa. I knew that name. Daniel mentioned her once, years ago. A crazy ex who moved away suddenly. He laughed it off like it was nothing. I sat up in bed. Crazy exes don't disappear without a trace. The next morning, I called Claire. I need to know everything, I said. We met at a quiet diner outside town. Claire looked different now, no makeup, hair pulled back, eyes tired. He told me Lisa was unstable, she said. Said she accused him of stealing ideas, money, even identity. Identity, I repeated. Claire nodded. He said she tried to ruin his life. A chill ran through me. Because that was exactly what he was telling people about me now. That afternoon, my lawyer called. Emily, you need to be careful, she said. Daniel's financial mess is deeper than we thought. How deep? She paused, deep enough to make desperate people do dangerous things. I thanked her and hung up. Then I did something I hadn't planned to do. I drove to Daniel's old office. The building was half empty now. His company sign was gone. Inside, the receptionist recognized me. Mrs. Brooks. Yes. She hesitated. You might want to see this. She handed me a small box. These were left behind when he cleared out, she said. Inside were flash drives. 5 of them, each labeled with dates. My stomach dropped. That night, I plugged the first one into my laptop. Files opened. Spreadsheets, fake names, different bank accounts. And then I saw it. A folder titled L. Inside were emails. From Lisa. Begging, threatening, confused. One message froze my breath. You took everything from me. If I disappear, it's on you. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was something darker. The doorbell rang. I jumped. Through the camera, I saw Daniel. Alone. I didn't open the door. Emily, he called softly, we need to talk. I spoke through the intercom. About Lisa. Silence. Then his voice changed. You don't know what you're getting into. I swallowed. Neither did she. His jaw tightened. You think you're smart, you think you won. I'm still alive, I said. That's more than you can say for your secrets. He leaned closer to the camera. Stop digging. Or what? I asked. His smile was slow. You'll end up just like her. My phone buzzed in my hand. New message. Unknown number. He's lying. He didn't ACT alone. I felt the room spin. Because the message wasn't from Daniel. And it wasn't from Claire. Someone else was watching. And they knew everything. I didn't open the door. Daniel stood outside for a long time, staring at the camera like he was trying to decide something. Then he walked away. That was the last time I saw him in person. The next morning, police cars were parked outside my house. Not for me. For him. Daniel Brooks was arrested 2 states away while trying to withdraw a large amount of cash using a false name. When the officers searched his car, they found documents, phones, and one of the flash drives I hadn't even opened yet. Lisa's name was on it. The investigation moved fast after that. Too fast. Things Daniel buried for years came rushing to the surface. Fake companies, stolen identities, women who trusted him and lost everything. Lisa didn't disappear by choice. She disappeared because she was silenced. Her family finally got answers. Claire called me once. "I'm sorry," she said, "for everything." "I know," I replied. She was a victim too, just like I had been, just like Lisa. The court finalized the divorce without giving Daniel a single thing he asked for. The house stayed mine. The accounts were frozen. His company was dissolved. And me. I changed my name. I moved. I started over. Sometimes, late at night, I think about how close I was to letting it go, to crying quietly and walking away while he married someone else. If I had done that, the truth would still be buried. Lisa would still be missing. Daniel would still be free. He didn't just replace me with his mistress. He thought I was weak enough to disappear. That was his biggest mistake. Because I didn't just destroy their wedding plan. I ended his whole lie. And some days, when the phone is quiet and the world feels calm, I wonder one thing. How many other women almost became Lisa? Before I stopped him. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your comment about this story. And please subscribe to this channel and on the notification for more interesting stories.